On April 1st, 1984, Marvin Gaye was shot and killed in his home in Los Angeles. At the time, no one believed his death was real because of April Fool's Day, but more importantly, everyone was surprised on the perpetrator who committed the crime. That person was his namesake, Marvin Gay Sr. And today we're going to ask what led him to commit this life-changing and life-altering act. So without further ado, this is the story of Marvin Gay Sr. Before we begin, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It costs free $99, it helps out the channel, and you'll have zero regrets doing it. So without further ado, on to our feature presentation. Marvin Pence Gay Sr. was born on October 1st, 1914 in Jessamine County, Kentucky. Information about his childhood was difficult to find, but what was known was his upbringing was rough. He undergone abuse, physical and mental, growing up. His father would abuse his wife and Marvin's siblings. He had all he took and moved to Washington, D.C. as a teenager to pursue a career in the ministry. He became a sensation in the D.C., Pennsylvania area. In 1935, he met Alberta Cooper, and the two were married shortly after. The couple will have 4 children: Janine, born in 1937, Marvin Jr., born in 1939, Francis, or Frankie, born in 1941, and Ziola. The family worshipped on Saturday as opposed of Sunday because Marvin Sr. was against the Christian tradition of attending church on Sunday, accusing Christians of violating God's commandment to keep the Lord's Day. But back home, it was everything but holy. Just like his father, he too was strict on his family. The phrase, "spare the rod, spoil the child," did not apply to Sr. According to his children, he never spares the rod. He would beat his kids if they failed to memorize verses from the Bible. All 4 children were bedwetters, and they were disciplined for that, but the worst punishment came towards Jr. He would punish his son for any and everything, whether it was minor or major. Marvin Jr. described his childhood as rough and told many interviewers that he would have ended it all if it wasn't for his mother consoling him. But there was one moment of solace between the Marvins. Sr. was a skilled pianist and taught Jr. how to play. Sr. also helped Jr. hone his musical gifts. Sr. would have a bigger descent. By the mid-50s, Gay would leave the house of God after not getting chief apostle. He became a heavy drinker at the time. Marvin Sr. could never hold down a job, thus Alberta became the breadwinner. Jr. had all he took and he decided to leave home to join the Air Force. But Marvin realized the Air Force had an authoritarian style similar to home, so he faked a mental illness to get him an honorable discharge. Now let's talk about Marvin Jr.'s beginnings. After his brief stints in the Air Force ended, he returned to Washington, D.C. to form a group called the Marquis. The group would get discovered by Bo Diddley, and through his connections, got the group signed to OK Records. The group only recorded one song, Wyatt Earp, but the song failed to make any national noise. Meanwhile, Harvey Fuqua of the Monglos saw his group on the verge of disbanding, so he asked the Marquis to fill in the lineup. The group accepted and performed under the new billing, the New Monglos. The group would tour and act as session singers for that time. The group was actually supposed to appear on American Bandstand, given that the Marquis the national spotlight they needed, but the lead singer Harvey Fuqua was contractually obligated to perform with his original lineup instead. In 1960, the Marquis disbanded. Marvin relocated to Detroit and signed with Tri-Fi Records as a session musician. In December of that same year, he performed at Berry Gordy's holiday party. Gordy liked what he saw and wanted Marvin to sign with his newest label at the time, known as Motown. But Marvin was already signed with Tri-Fi Records, so Gordy sought a buyout on his contract. Tri-Fi agreed on a settlement and Marvin was signed to Motown under the Tamla division. And one more thing changed when he arrived at Motown: his name. Marvin's name changed from Marvin Gaye, G-A-Y, to Marvin Gaye, G-A-Y-E. And he had 3 reasons for this. Number 1, in his youth, he and his sibling were teased for their name and wanted to end any homosexuality backlash before it began. And remember, this is 1960. Homosexuality wasn't accepted as it is today. Number 2, with a strained relationship with his father, he added the E to distance himself further. And 3, he idolized Sam Cooke, who did the same name, so Marvin followed suit. Marvin would go on a highly successful run on Motown for nearly 2 decades with his own works and duets with a few leading ladies on the label. Thanks to Marvin Gaye's success, he bought his parents a new house in the DC area, getting them out of the projects. However, visits from Marvin were rare due to his strained relationship with his father. He tried to give them a peace offering by gifting him a Cadillac, but Sr.'s response wasn't telling. In 1970, Marvin Sr. had a son, Antoine Carey, from an extramarital affair. Marvin Jr. never met him. When Motown made the move from Detroit to Los Angeles, Marvin decided to move his parents to LA as well. And in 1974, Marvin Sr. made his television debut on Midnight Special with his son. But Marvin Sr.'s issues with alcohol carried, to the point where his wife started to become fed up with him. Although they remained married, by 1980, the couple slept in separate bedrooms. Meanwhile, their son was also struggling to get it together. During the 70s decade, he developed a cocaine habit, and by the time the 80s hit, it spiraled out of control. He also got into debt with the IRS, so he entered a period of exile to avoid arrest. He lived in London, Hawaii, and Belgium. But in Belgium, he got sober and started to perform again. CBS heard about this and sought a buyout from Motown so Marvin can record new music. In 1982, Midnight Love was released. The album was headlined by the song Sexual Healing, a song that became a worldwide smash. And with 2 Grammy wins, Marvin was back. But when he embarked on a national tour, old problems crept back. He relapsed back to cocaine as he hated touring and needed a void to ease the pain. His paranoia came back, and he would sometimes perform with a bulletproof vest, except for the song Sexual Healing, where Marvin was stripped down to almost his underwear. After the tour ended, Marvin retreated to Los Angeles to move in with his parents. He had many reasons why he moved back. Many speculated that he was dealing with financial problems, but Gay stated that he moved back to help his mother out after she had kidney surgery, but more importantly, he wanted to make peace with his father. That Christmas, he bought his father a .38 Smith & Wesson for protection, but Marvin would be dealing with increased paranoia and feared that someone was out to get him. On March 31st, 1984, Marvin Sr. was struggling locating insurance policy papers and accused his wife of misplacing the papers. Husband and wife got into an argument, but Jr. was able to defuse the situation without incident. The next day, Sunday, April 1st, 1984, around noontime, Marvin's brother Frankie and his wife Irene are preparing a meal at the guest house. They hear what is thought to be firecrackers, but reality sets in when they spot Alberta storming out the house hysterical. She informed Irene and Frankie that father shot Marvin. Upon hearing this, Irene calls 911. Frankie storms in, not knowing if his father was still armed or not, to aid his older brother, who is unconscious. At 12:43 p.m., EMTs arrive before the police does, which means they cannot enter the house with the shooter still in the house. Irene enters and encounters Sr., who looks dazed and confused. Irene looks for the .38 and finds it under a pillow. Time is wasted, but the paramedics finally enters once Irene exits with the gun in her hands. Upon placing Marvin in the ambulance, someone asks, "Did anyone know who this person is?" Irene responded, "That's Marvin Gaye." Doctors tried to revive Marvin, but at 1:01 p.m., Marvin Pence Gay Jr. was pronounced dead on arrival at the age of 44. At the time, no one believed his death because it was April Fool's Day. After the EMTs left with his son, Marvin Sr. sits on the other side of the house waiting to be arrested, which he was without incident. Police want to know what led up to the shooting, so they take Marvin Sr. into precinct to offer his side of the story. And it goes something like this. Marvin Sr. entered Marvin Jr.'s bedroom to question his wife about missing insurance papers. Jr. does not like him arguing and shoves his father in the hallway, and a fight ensues, which Alberta breaks up the fight. Marvin Sr. goes to lay down in his bedroom to calm down. Marvin Jr. enters and continues to beat his father while he's lying down. Sr. pulls a gun from under his pillow and shoots Jr. once. He creeps up closer to shoot him again. Police then took Alberta Gay to the precinct to tell her side of the story since she was the only other witness. And her version goes something like this. Marvin Sr. entered Jr.'s bedroom to question his wife about missing insurance papers. Jr. does not like him arguing and shoves his father in the hallway. A fight ensues and Alberta breaks up the fight. Alberta, as she's often done, consoles Jr. Seniors re-enter the bedroom with .38 in hand and fires a gunshot wound into Jr.'s chest. He moves closer and fires again at point-blank range. So the next question is, who's telling the truth? Well, April 2nd, the day that was supposed to be Marvin Gaye's 45th birthday, ended up being his day of his autopsy. They found that the first bullet enters his right shoulder and goes in a downward motion to hit most of his vital organs before resting in his lower left side. And the second bullet just hits his shoulder. The autopsy confirms that Alberta was telling the truth. April 5th, 1984, the celebration of Marvin's life takes place. Most of Marvin's former label mates made appearances, and Smokey Robinson and Dick Gregory gave eulogies. Marvin's body was supposed to be buried at Forest Lawn Cemetery, however the family requested that his body to be cremated. Part of his ashes was spread at the Pacific Ocean, while the rest was kept amongst Anna Gaye and Marvin III. Marvin Gaye also left behind no will, which meant Marvin III became the co-owner of his estate. At the time of his death, Marvin was almost at $2 million in debt courtesy of unpaid taxes and spousal support, but those debts were paid off with his royalties. Back with Marvin Sr., the police confirmed that he isn't being honest with the police nor detectives, so they decided to give him a medical examination. The doctors found out that he has a tumor at the base of his brain. He will have surgery to remove the tumor. In June 1984, Alberta Gaye files for divorce after 49 years of marriage. In September 1984, Marvin Sr.'s trial begins. It will be here where he shows remorse for his actions, but thanks to the fight, the brain tumor, and the bodily injury sustained from the fight, Marvin Gaye Sr. pleads no contest to a voluntary manslaughter. In November 1984, Marvin Gaye Sr. was given a 6-year suspended sentence and 5 years probation, but due to his declining health, he will spend his remaining days at a retirement home until his death in 1998. Now for this thought, did Marvin Gaye ask for his own death? According to many close family members and friends, Marvin talked a lot about ending it all to them. He had attempted to remove himself 4 days before his death when he jumped out of a speeding car. However, Marvin only escaped the incident with minor cuts and bruises. Gina Gaye, Marvin's sister, stated that Marvin orchestrated his own death. She said with this, Marvin accomplished 3 things. Number 1, he put himself out of his own misery. Number 2, freeing his mother from his marriage. And number 3, make his father suffer for the rest of his days. Frankie Gaye allegedly stated that when he aided his brother, Marvin murmured, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I had him do it. It's good. I ran my race. There's no more left in me." Whatever the case was, Marvin's drug use caused his paranoia and drive to live, but Marvin Jr.'s legacy lived on. His music today has been sampled and used by many artists from the old and new generation. As for Marvin Sr., the death of his son left a permanent stain on him, even if he got off with the light outcome, but what he did was rob the world the greatest male vocalist of all time. And that concludes the story of Marvin Gaye Sr. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Rest in peace to Marvin Gaye, and I'll see you next time.